Grade 8, now I'm going to teach you how to do equations involving fractions. Let's take this example. X over 3 equals 5. Now that's quite an easy one to do if you want to do it by inspection, because you can just say what divided by 3 equals 5, and the answer would be 15. So 15 divided by 3 is 5, and 5, you can see that both sides are equal. But it is going to get a bit more complicated, so let's think of a method that we can do that will help us with more complicated fraction equations. So at the moment, this is x divided by 3. What can we do to get rid of divided by 3? Because remember, we only want x on this side and everything else on the other side. So the inverse operation of dividing is multiplying. So if we multiply both sides by 3, these 3's can cancel. So we're just left with plain x on the side, which is what we want, and it equals 15. So the answer to this fraction equation is x equals 15. Let's try a slightly more complex example. What happens if we had x over 2 minus 7 equals 5? Okay, that's a little bit more difficult to work out in your head, but you probably could still do it. Let's solve it with the rules that we've learned. I think the best idea is first to get rid of this minus 7. Because remember, on the left we only want x's, and on the right we want numbers. So I'm going to add 7 to both sides. So then we have x over 2 is equal to 12. Because this becomes 0. This makes the minus 7 completely disappear from there. Now what am I going to do? The inverse of dividing by 2 is timesing by 2. I'm going to times both sides by 2. The 2's cancel, so x is equal to 24. And we can always check and see if we're right. Let's go back to the original question. This was the original question. If I put 24 in place of x, 24 divided by 2 is 12. 12 minus 7 is 5. So that's correct. One slightly harder example. What happens if I have x over 3 plus 1 is equal to a half? Okay, now we've got two fractions here. I'm going to take the 1 across again. So I'm going to minus 1 from both sides. So now I get minus a half on this side, because a half minus 1 is minus a half. Okay, so now I want plain x on this side. So I'm going to times it by 3 and times it by 3. Those cancel. So x is equal to, now I hope you remember your fraction rules. You times the top and you times the bottom. Minus 3 over 2.